Thank you to Gifty and the rest of the crew for bringing us the news. It's time now, though, for the sport. On pulse, I'm Gary Al Smith. Today, we look at 5 defeats, 3 draws, just 1 win, 4 goals scored, 10 conceded, and they are bottom of the Ghana Premier League table. Things are falling apart at Legon Cities FC. The newcomers are in action tonight. They clash with AshGold in a Week 10 encounter at the Accra Stadium. Orikapofo is here with me in studio to look at the game and to look at the fortunes of the team that was supposed to, for many of us, be in our top 10 or for some top 5. Legon Cities are in action. What should we expect from them today?
I think that's a difficult question to answer, and even fans of the club and players probably might not know what to expect each game, because you never quite know which Legon Cities would turn up. And it's been quite disappointing so far this season. There's been games where they've put in a fight, especially in that Wafa win, their first win of the season. And then there's been games where they just play like a team without a soul when they faced Olympics, and even that loss against the Busia Drafts that was on the TV. But it's just been really poor from them. And it's not even about the investment, but it's just about the nature of the performances. Performances have been so bad that even after one of their games, the officials told the bus driver to leave the players behind. And that should tell you how bad a performance is for, officials to react like that. Because this is a club that is a fresh investment. There's been so much money pumped in. And, I'm close to one of the owners, and I'm not allowed to mention the figures, but it's high-level money. Millions are being pumped into this team. So if after the first quarter of the Ghana Premier League, you are bottom, and your aim is to be a top club in Africa, then you know that there's a big gap between what you want to achieve and where you are right now.
So, AshGold, on the other hand, well, they started the season in a wobbly fashion, and then they just launched. We find them in the top 5.
Yeah, and a draw would be enough tonight to take them to the top of the Premier League table, at least for tonight.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Serkovic would be gunning up his boys to pick up a win. They've been the form team, started a bit slowly, 2 draws, but then they've really picked up from there, and they're the highest scorers in the Premier League right now, 18 goals. But then, interestingly, they've conceded 11. That's more than the opponents that they are facing tonight, Legon Cities. And so even though they are good going forward, they might have to work on their defense. We saw that game against Heart of Oak when they conceded 2 as well. So that might just be a bit of a problem that they do have. But they're almost like the Manchester United right now in the league. You just don't want to go into a lead against them because they've picked 12 points from losing positions already this season. So it's not going to be easy to beat them. A lot of teams have managed to do that this season. So it's going to be a tough one. And for Asante Kotoko, there's extra motivation to go on top of the Premier League.
So that game is at 6, and not even the appointment of Bashir Hayford has turned the fortunes of Legon Cities. But let's go through what other fixtures you should be looking out for in the Ghana Premier League this weekend. So that's tonight's game. It's first. Brekum Chelsea will be playing against Heart of Oak. Chelsea have had a torrid season. Olympics, who are doing quite well, will face top of the table Karela United. Dreams FC versus Liberty Professional, 2 teams whose seasons we don't quite understand yet. Mediama versus Inter Allies. Mediama have famously scoring issues. They've got Ahmed Toure, but is he going to play? We'll find out. I'm not sure if his work permit issues have been sorted at the moment. Ebusia Drafts will be playing Wafa, whose owner has just died recently, and so for them, every game is sort of a tribute. Elmina Sharks play Bechem United, and 11 Wonders play King Faisal, who are down there with Legon Cities on the bottom. And Asante Kotoko will be playing Aduana Stars. We'll be having that game live on Joy FM on Sunday evening. So, pick of the matches, Asante Kotoko, Aduana, of course.
Yeah, that certainly would be a big one. And for Kotoko, with how things are so tight at the top of the table, you do have Kotoko, who are just 1 point behind Karela, but then you have, Aduana Stars, who are just 3 points also behind the top of the table, and they are lying in 7th. So even a win could possibly see Aduana end up as top of the league table. So there's added possible incentive there in that game. But for Asante Kotoko, it's more of consistency, and they're just struggling to score goals right now. If you do look at the Premier League table, they're the second lowest scorers right now. So they need to find a way of scoring, and it has to be someone apart from Kwame Poku, because if he's not scoring, anyone else is not scoring. But it's also a similar situation for Aduana Stars. Yahya Mohammed, he seems to be scoring all of their goals, and he's won 11 points for Aduana so far with his 6 goals that he scored so far. So it's going to be a good game. Kwame Poku versus Yahya Mohammed. I think 2 of our arguably best strikers that we do have in the league right now. So it's one that we're looking forward to. Right.
So in terms of the top scorer race in the Ghana Premier League, it's a player who has left the country at the moment, Lemoti Aglo from Wafa, who is having 8 goals as well. Yeah, Mohammed has 5 goals. And then in between them, you've got Dewisi Taylor, who's got 8 as well, and then Kwame Poku, who is on 7.
6.
Who's on 6?
6, yeah. 6,
yeah, so 6-5. So 8-8, 6-5. We had a table, we showed you that earlier this week. I'm sure we'll be showing that later on Prime. But essentially, those are the fixtures you should be looking out for. 11 Wonders are a team who are sashaying between being very good and not too good. But if you look at Karela United, I mean, their home form obviously has been great. And this time they are going to be playing away. Does this change anything for them?
Well, I think for Karela, what makes them more dangerous is that now you don't just have to think about, Dewisi Taylor. There's also Kwame Boateng, who has picked up a lot of form. And then they have Ofer in midfield as well, who also popped up with a couple of goals. So the goals are coming in from, different places. So it's difficult to say that we're going to just man-mark Dewisi Taylor out of this game. And so I think that's what has made them a much more difficult side to face. But championships, as they do say, are always won at home. Once you get something on the road, that's good enough. Yeah. But once you're winning everything at home, that makes you, tighter.
Especially in the Ghana Premier League.
Yeah, and you look at them, and not everyone seems to be winning so easily. You look at the last game, they scored 4 goals, and they seem to be scoring for fun right now. It's all about confidence and the type of games and the moment that we are in. Football seems to be springing a number of surprises all across the world. We're seeing new teams leading tables. Teams that are not really, usual candidates are now leading. So it could possibly be one of those seasons. So I'm sure they're taking it one game at a time. But they're one team that we should certainly keep an eye on.
Right. So there's Great Olympics, I believe. Yes. And Olympics themselves have had quite an interesting season. They've got Yao Prekon and also Godwin Atram, who are currently the new managers of the side. They've started well, and clearly coaching was an issue, which is why they went that couple of games without getting something when their previous coach, Anna Walker, got ill. Yeah. But the question is whether they can maintain it going forward.
For Olympics, I think they've graduated from relegation candidates last season, the truncated one, to out-core title pretenders this season. And they've been in and around the top 4, and they've dropped a bit. But I still think, if you look at the league table, 2 match days, they win 2 games, they could get back into the title race. But that's a good place for them to be, especially considering where they are coming from. I think that their recruitment has been good. It's rather unfortunate there's been a break in momentum due to the ailment of their coach, Anna Walker. But I love what the ex-players have done, Godwin Atram and Olele Kinson and all of them coming in to help. Yao Prekon coming in to help the club in a difficult period. But you look at Olympics, and they're doing what is required of them to stay in the league. And so far, they have 7 points at home, 7 points away. They wouldn't be extraordinary in both, but they are picking up enough to be able to survive in the league. And I think that they would be good enough. They probably wouldn't be in the relegation zone this season.
Right. Thank you, Oreku, for the preview for Week 10 of the Ghana Premier League. Also, go to myjoyonline.com. You will see that Asante Kotoko have issued a statement about Muniru Sule, the brother of Sule Muntari. They've terminated the contract with him. They are saying that they didn't pay him anything throughout the time he was there, and they are not paying him anything in severance fees. And so, essentially, I'm not sure if that means he just came to be part of the team, Muniru Sule as well. But whatever it is, we'll find out later. Obviously, you are going to hear a lot about the behind-the-scenes reasons why he left the team. But once it's not official, we will not want to speculate. Thank you, Oreku, again. And that's the sport for now. Please follow the rest of our programming. Tonight, we have a few details on Prime and then on Fan Zone. Then tomorrow, on JoyNews Room, Oreku will be here.